Welcome to The Funnel. My name is John Shea, and I'm president of Alignment Group. This is episode number 278 of The Funnel. Relationship selling is a key ingredient in sales success. Before we begin, I want to urge you, head on over to alignment-group.com/The Funnel. Subscribe and receive a coupon code for the online sales training class. Today's agenda: bring something to the table. It's about them. Personal. Tackle the difficult problems and everybody wins. So I'm sure I'm not enlightening you when I'm talking about relationship selling. When I say that it's important to selling and to sales. It is a key ingredient. And that's why I want to talk about it. And I've talked about it before. So let's start with bringing something to the table. So what do I mean by that? You have to add value. Right? You have to bring something that they need to the table, to that relationship. And I think sometimes people misunderstand value for product. So let me explain this. The value is you. You're the one that is going to help them solve their problem. And if you can't, well, you're going to tell them that, right? So that's where you begin to become a trusted advisor. That you're the one that they trust to tell them the truth. Okay? So I get into these relationships all the time, and it's, one of the biggest challenges for me is that I talk with different people within a specific company, from the owner to the VPs to the managers to the salespeople to the support staff. And the thing you have to keep in mind is that you are neutral, right? That my value as a trusted advisor is to take in all of that information that I'm being given. And sometimes, listen, people are political. So they're spinning things and they're saying things. And you're trying to keep that neutral stance where you don't own the company or have a stake in the company's outcome from that perspective. But you're there to help them make the best possible decisions to move forward as a company. And that means becoming that trusted advisor. That means ignoring that chatter and giving the best possible answer to the questions, providing the best possible solution to their problem. The value that you add comes from you. Okay? Obviously, there are things that you can do to help them, like helpful suggestions, relevant content, things they can read. For example, I've been meeting with a number of different clients recently, but I just started with a new one last month. And it's been a slow burn for a number of reasons, just getting schedules connected through the holidays. But there's a lot of things that, that I'm going to be recommending that they do. Some training classes online, some free things, content that's going to help them get better at their job. Those are helpful suggestions. Now, obviously, I've already gotten the deal, right? These are things that you can do prior to getting the deal. So think about that. Hey, you know what? I see your problem. You might want to go online. There's this online course. It's free, and it won't take you long. You do it in your spare time. It's video-based. There's not a lot in terms of homework, but it's very valuable in helping you solve your problem, and I think you would benefit from that. I'm going to send you the link. You see how that works? You're providing them with content and suggestions. You don't even have the deal. That's the value you bring. You're trying to understand what's going on here so you can make the best possible recommendation. That's what I mean by it's about them. It's not about you, okay? Your history, your experience, the things that have happened to you in your life, in your business life, will contribute to your value, right? So I've done this for 30 years. I've sales rep, sales manager, VP of sales. I've done it all. I've built stuff. I've hired people. I've hired managers. I've fired people. So there's all these things that I've done in my collective history in sales. That is going to help me help them. But they don't really, other than in the beginning, they don't want to know your personal stories about that unless it's going to help them. So it's really about them. And sometimes that's hard for us because I use analogies and I use stories to help people understand their problem and understand where I'm coming from. I'll explain to them, hey, I knew somebody that was in this situation, and this is what we did. Or I was in this situation, and this is how I resolved this. It helps them see it in a different light. But always remember, it's about them understanding their objectives, understanding their situation, understanding their goals, professional and sometimes personal, in terms of how, and I mean personal, professional for the company, personal for them within the company. Understanding, are we a good fit? And if we are a good fit, then I want to continue that conversation, and I want to look at the metrics, and I want to help them. I want to begin the qualifying prospects and or the process. I want to go through all of that to help them solve their problem. And if it's not, I'm going to tell them, this is a square peg in a round hole. This isn't going to fit. Now, you may not think that that's of value to you, but you start getting a reputation like that, that's money. That's money. You know what? I talked to this guy. He said I wasn't a good fit for him, but I think you might be a good fit. So remember, it's about them, about understanding what's going on in their world, so you can help them solve their problem and being upfront and honest about whether you're a fit or not. So when I say it's personal, what I mean by is everybody's situation is different. So I can use my past experience, I can use other clients to draw on to help people solve their problem. But at the end of the day, this is about their specific company with their specific people and their specific situations. So I'm going to customize my advice based on their team and what's happening with them. It's not boilerplate. It's always about them. So if I have all that knowledge and history and experience, and I have all this knowledge and history on them as a company, as a buyer, as a person, okay, and I'm the expert, my suggestions can be tailored to them. And I can zero in, maybe XYZ company had a different pain point. Similar company, similar situation, but the pain point's slightly different. Where the pain points are the same, but one seems to be stronger than the other. I might zero in on that. What's great about all of that is you can customize those recommendations and then just back it up with examples of things that you've done in the past. That's how you make it personal. You make them, and this isn't fake, this is real. You want them to feel like you're invested in them as a company. And I really do care about my clients, care about their companies, care about the outcomes. So for me, it's very personal. I want to see them have success. And then I want to prove it to them through my advice. Next one can be hard for salespeople. Okay? It's tackling the difficult problems. And I think that's kind of, in many cases, where the rubber meets the road. You can't be afraid to hit problems head on. So whether it's an objection, hit it head on. Answer their questions. And if it's something that you don't agree with, then you need to go through the process. You don't want to run them over. You don't want to bully them, because that just turns people off. You want them to explain it to you so you really understand. And then you provide an honest answer. Use a little patience. Like, I'm very, very patient right now in this one situation. I'm just trying to understand. And some people are really good at communicating and others aren't so good. And I'm not taking it personally, and I'm not looking at them differently. It's just how they communicate. I don't have enough to go on with them to say, hey, they're not really telling me the truth, or they're holding back something because blah, 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 all the politics. I don't know that. I just know I need to be patient. I just need to keep asking the questions. And when I get the answers, then give them an honest opinion back. Honest recommendations, even if it's painful. Hey, this is a red flag. I know this seems like this is real important to you. However, this is why I think it's a red flag. Okay, that's in a situation that, and you're saying, well, again, they're yes, but don't you think that happens in the sales process? It happened to me through this process. I was getting a lot of feedback and asking a lot of questions through the sales process, and I'm giving them honest answers back, painful answers. Like, you don't have a sales process. Well, that's not going to be helpful, and this is why. Well, we don't think it's that important. We just need revenue. Okay, well, this is how you get revenue. Let me show you the foundational stuff. Let's talk about that, why that's important. You gave me the history of the past. I'm going to tell you why this happened to you in a lot of ways that are related to selling. It's not just personal. They didn't have a sales process in place. They didn't have this, and this. And this is why you're losing revenue. So even when it's painful, I tell them the truth. That's how you go back to trusted advisor. They begin developing a relationship with you and trusting what you're telling them as a salesperson. Wow, we don't even have the deal yet. And they're tackling the difficult problems. They're answering objections. They're not afraid. But they're listening to what I have to say, and they're giving me an honest assessment based on what they see. That's hard to find in business today. I like this person. I want to do business with them. That's how that works. That's how that tackling the difficult problems helps. At the end of the day, it isn't about winners or losers. This is not a football game. Right now, here in the U.S., we're in the middle of the NFL playoffs. So as you can tell, I'm probably not ahead on my podcast recordings. I'm delivering just in time. After the holidays, I got behind on a few things. So I'm delivering this after watching football over the weekend. I'm a huge football fan. Watching the last second win Minnesota pulled off against the New Orleans Saints. How crushing a blow that was to New Orleans. And how euphoric the Minnesota team was at the end of that game. Winner and loser. Now, you could talk about how the one team got that far in the playoffs, has a lot of great players, a good coach. They just happened to lose. On one mistake, one guy made at the end of the game. And it's not going to be the end of his career. People make mistakes. But they didn't win. They lost. Right now, they're done. They're cleaning out all their stuff out of their lockers. And they're going home for the remainder of the season, playoffs, and the off season. And it starts all over again next year. This is not a game. In these situations where you build relationships, everybody should win. Your client should walk away feeling like they got something. And they don't mind that, as long as they don't feel like you ripped them off. So you should feel good. They should feel good. That's win-win. That's where everybody wins. That's what needs to happen in a relationship. Because as you evolve this relationship and you develop it and there's more revenue down the road and things happen, there's going to be some bad stuff that happens on both sides. And you're going to have to work through that. And if they trust you, it's going to be a lot better for you. If you trust them, the same thing. People nix deals because they feel like they're getting robbed. Even if you walk away with a deal and like a week later, they're like, man, I feel like I got robbed. You're in trouble. Don't do that. Make sure that everybody's on the winning side. And then keep the value train rolling. This is where I think it gets lost on a lot of people. Don't just fly off into the night. Be a part of their life. Okay? I was just talking about this late this afternoon with somebody. About how he was telling me about salespeople only have a small piece of the pie and they don't go after the rest of the business. And he can't understand why. And there's a lot of reasons why, right? Their risk of losing the whole thing. That's a big one, right? They're afraid to upset the apple cart. They don't know how to go after that business. There's a lot of different reasons for that, right? But what I said to him when I was talking to this person, what I said to him is, understand this and be very clear on this. There's somebody out there that has a piece of that pie in that company, a competitor, that wants it all. And they're going to come after you until they get it all. And they're going to work on the relationship, and they're not going to disappear, and they're going to keep providing value until they get every last drop of your business. I have a friend like that. He's never satisfied with getting a piece of it. He wants all of it. Make no mistake about it. You crack that door open a little bit, and you let him in, and you give him a small piece of that business. Before you know it, he's got it all. And he's doing it through relationship selling. All of it through relationship selling. He's keeping the value train rolling. And then once he gets all the business, he shuts the door and he never lets anybody else in. By continuing to provide value to that client. That doesn't mean you have to process every order that comes in because they call you. I've been there with them. I know this person. I've seen him when he gets the call. Hey, I am not the best person to help you with this. This is why. So you got a pen? Okay, here's what I want you to do. Write down this person's name. There's their number. There's their email. Give them a call. I am going to follow up with them to let them know you will be calling. Maybe you'll call before I get to them, but I won't forget about it. And if there's any issues with getting this done, you let me know. And he hangs up, and he calls back, and he says, hey, Sally, John Shay's going to be calling, and this is what he's going to be calling about. Just giving you a heads up. This is their problem. I think you're best to handle this, obviously, because this is not my department. Let me know if you have any issues. And he follows up with Sally, and he follows up with the customer. That's keeping the value train rolling. He's not doing the work. He's just staying on their radar, deepening that trust bond and deepening that relationship. That's what you need to do. I'll leave you with one final note. Strong relationship building does mask other mistakes. So if you're having a dip in support and service in your company, things aren't going well, you've got some problem areas, short-term problem areas, your relationship will overcome that any day of the week. If you don't have a relationship, they'll drop you like a hot potato. So don't ever forget that. It's the strongest part of selling is that relationship. You can find us on Facebook.com/alignment group, Twitter @JayJohnR, LinkedIn. Connect with me. More than happy to connect with you. Send me an email, jshay@alignment-group.com. I'll be sure and get back to you. Of course, my website is alignment-group.com. As always, keep filling the funnel.